The Gentlemen Commoners, a series of portraits by Isaac Wood, portray the aristocratic commoners of Winchester College in the 1730s. They are one of the only instances of bias at Winchester. Commoners were fee-paying pupils that either boarded in town or with the Fellows. John Burton, a headmaster who was particularly prominent in the acquisition of some of the college's finest works of art, commissioned portraits of 13 of the commoner aristocrats. Most of the homogeneous portraits, with their bulbous eyes and juvenile faces, now dominate the Mastering College's dining room at Winchester. Learn more about the prejudice aspect of the portraits through my video, Bias at Winchester College. The link is in the YouTube description. I am going to look at some of my favourite quirks of the portraits in this video, and their context. But you can look at each individual portrait in much more depth, including stories of sudden riches from lead, accidental shootings and much more, through my online museum. Again, the link is in the YouTube description. This portrait of Brownlow Cecil, Lord Burleigh, is the most unique in the set. It was painted in 1737, 5 years after the rest of the paintings, and is dated from between 1731 and 1732. It has substantially different dimensions to the other portraits. It is also unique because it is the only painting that has been signed by the artist. Burleigh is helpfully pointing towards the signature. Here is the signature clarified. Francis Greville, Lord Brooke, is one of only 4 of the gentlemen commoners wearing powdered wigs. The key word there is only. In the dress of elite boys in the early 18th century, particularly on continental Europe, wigs were the norm. Brooke would later become Earl Brooke of Warwick Castle, and then Earl of Warwick. The castle is depicted in the background of his portrait. This portrait of Charles Bennet, Lord Ossulston, is particularly interesting because he is wearing a nobleman's gown, lifted by the breeze. This shows he spends lots of his time outside hunting. You can even see an ongoing hunt in the background. Charles Tryon was not a noble, even though he was a commoner. The ink pot and pens emphasise that he was a schoolboy, not an aristocrat. The Honourable John Bulkeley Coventry is depicted on the left, and his brother Thomas Henry Coventry, Viscount Deerhurst, is depicted on the right. Note how they are wearing gowns and coats in reverse colours. In the background of John's portrait, a warship is firing its guns, an allusion to their ancestor, Sir William Coventry, a naval commissioner. The portraits at Winchester all have a similar frame, such as the image on the left. However, there was one more portrait painted. The missing portrait is on the right. You can clearly see the differences between their frames. The frame on the right, which has shells, is gilded, unlike the frame on the left, which has acorns and oak leaves. The subject of the missing portrait was brother to the 2 previous Coventry boys. This letter is relevant to the gentlemen commoners. Burton and his 10 commoners, before the foundation of Old Commoners, which you can learn about in my earlier video on John Burton, went on a hunt, perhaps depicted in Lord Ossulston's portrait. Burton only had 10 commoners at this point in time, the number allowed in the statutes, and he received £200 per year for each commoner, perhaps why he was able to donate so much to the college. This letter lists those present on the hunt. There are portraits of all of them, except for Master Duncombe. The college was able to keep Burton's portraits because he gave them to Winchester in his will. It is the bottom entry in this extract from the Book of Benefactions that featured in the previous video of this series. The extract reads, "By his will, the pictures of all the noblemen and gentlemen commoners who boarded and lodged with him in the college and were educated under him, to be fixed up in the schoolmaster's great room, the same great room where they are hung today. The room is now the Mastering College's dining room. In this 19th century watercolour, which must have been commissioned by the second master, George Richardson, who featured heavily in my Bias at Winchester College video, the gentlemen commoners are depicted, hung unusually high and canted forwards. We can see that the room was used as a dining room by this stage. This is the room today. The portraits have been hung considerably differently recently. The gentlemen commoners can be contrasted with Eton's leaving portraits. There are fewer gentlemen commoners than leaving portraits. Their limited number shows that Winchester has never been a predominantly aristocratic school. The gentlemen commoners were made during pupils' stay at the college, rather than upon their departure. Furthermore, Wood's commoners predate the leaving portraits by 25 years. Thank you for watching this video on the Gentlemen Commoners, Isaac Wood's series of portraits. If you have enjoyed it, then please like the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and visit my website, godtress.wixsite.com/cornucopia for more content like this.